Hey guys, it's Richard. I just wanted to make this video real quick because a lot of things have been going on and I really need to update you guys. To start, I'd like to address the elephant in the room. The reason why you clicked on this video in the first place anyway. It pains me to say this, but I'm no longer working with Drunken Ogre Studios. That's right. The tweet that I made, it wasn't fake. I have left Johnny's Adventure. This was a very hard decision for me to make, especially since Drunken Ogre and I go way back. When I first conceived of Johnny's Adventure, my first thought was that, oh, this is just going to be a novel, I'm going to have to pay a lot to get it published, and people are probably not going to get it, so it's just going to be a little thing that I'm going to try out, and then just go back to voice acting. Well, I never expected all the love and support that would come in after I started sharing my idea. Seriously, you guys on Twitter, Facebook, wherever the fuck you're coming from, all of your support, it means so much to me. Thank you so much for being with me since the day I first posted about Johnny's Adventure. I honestly don't know where I would be without you. It was through that venture that I really started to come into my own as a voice actor. Johnny was really the first original character I've ever created. When I was first drafting the story, I wanted to carefully balance comedy and drama just to give you the most authentic human experience of this character. I was honestly afraid to start pitching this to various studios because I wasn't sure if they would get it. But when Drunken Ogre reached out to me, for that moment, it really felt like a match made in heaven. Looking back at that moment, however, I feel that I was a bit naive, accepting their offer so quickly. I honestly didn't know a whole lot about the development process going in. It took me at least 5 other video game roles to really get enough experience to understand what it was like from their side as well as mine. And before the comment section goes off and says, "Oh, you don't have enough experience. Oh, 5 roles is nothing." Let me tell you something. Those 5 roles came to me over the course of 3 years. 2 of them were for extras, 2 of them were for side characters, and only 1 was a protagonist. All of them have been in development while I was working on Johnny's Adventure, and that's given me ample time to ask questions to those devs about what their experience is like working with voice actors. I know I'm not a dev by trade, and I know that I'm probably never going to understand what Drunken Ogre was going through unless I experienced it personally myself as a dev. However, I still feel justified in my reasons for leaving the project. Speaking of which, that should get me to the meat of why you're here. You probably want to know why I left, didn't you? I'd say the first reason why I left is that there were creative differences that happened between me and the devs that we couldn't ever reconcile. I noticed them tightening the leash as the project kept progressing. The further we went into it, the more creative control they wanted. And the more creative control they wanted, the less room there was for negotiation. As a naive, inexperienced content creator, I was scared of losing support from the only people who gave it to me in the first place. That's why I stayed for as long as I did. I wanted to make sure that we would still be working together even if the relationship was slightly tumultuous. In my mind, I didn't care about whether I liked what I was doing or not. All I wanted was for my project to be out there in some form. But now, in realizing the ill effects of having given up so much creative control, I'm not even sure if I know my own story anymore. This brings me to another reason why I left. I felt that the devs were kind of flippant and very disrespectful towards other owners of intellectual property that they wanted to reference. The first incident I noted was that they tried to rip off Hostel Gato from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. If you've played the demo of the game, you'll see this character appear at the very end. Unfortunately, this is only the beginning of the issues. After the Hostel Gato incident, the way they handled references only got increasingly ham-handed. The ripoff names stopped being clever and started being more on the nose, and more plot points were being recycled from the original material rather than being reworked to work with Johnny's story. By the near end of the game, they had a character that was a reference to Back to the Future who almost just straight up called Johnny Marty McFly. As I've stated before, this is only the beginning of my issues with how they handle referencing other intellectual properties. I talked to them after the Hostel Gato incident, and this is what they wrote. I'm gonna pull this up from my phone. Oh, question mark? Oops, we forgot to take that out. That was an inside joke between me and my friend who's helping me develop this game, winky face. If you don't want it in the final game, we can remove it. At the time, I had no reason not to believe them. Like I said before, I was new at the time, so I wasn't sure how people handled making references to other materials. Knowing what I know now, let's compare that reply to the one they gave me after I called them out for the Back to the Future ripoff. I wrote, "Hey guys, I have a question about the Back to the Future reference. Are you sure we need to include this in Johnny's story? To me, it seems like you kinda just slapped it in there and it doesn't really contribute anything. On top of that, did you get the rights to use this intellectual property at all?" They replied with, "Oh please, LOL. Don't worry about it. If it's on the internet, it's fair game, winky face." This is where I have a problem. It's totally fine to make an offhand joke that refers to another franchise. When paired with the right kind of character, it gives them a unique sense of humor and a very interesting sense of worldliness to them. On top of that, well-executed referential humor can get the audience to rethink the source material. However, when you just throw references in without even thinking about how to make them situationally appropriate, you're doing a disservice to the source material. By treating the original material with such a blatant disregard of the love and care that went into making it, you're disrespecting the original creators as well. And to me, that's not okay. Furthermore, resolving a copyright infringement case can cost not only millions in legal fees, but also millions more in reparations and damage costs. For those reasons, I didn't feel comfortable agreeing to their vision of how the final part of the game was going to go. Additionally, I asked for all credits associated with my name to be removed. This brings me to the last major issue. I just wasn't having fun with the project anymore. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love Johnny as a character. I really honestly enjoy voicing him, and I love to write about the other characters in his world as well. However, working with Drunken Ogre, I would say it made me feel distant from my own creation. With all the issues I discussed before, it really stopped feeling like my project after a certain point. That was why I asked for my name to be removed from the credits. I recall it was a little bit after the halfway mark in development when I started to ask myself, wait, whose project is this anyway? It was honestly a very surreal and very scary feeling. I guess you could say the reason why I left was mostly because of what I just described. But I would be wrong if I said the other two reasons weren't also a part of it. For those of you who have stood by my decision, thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. Now I'd like to talk about what I plan to do with Johnny going forward. As many of you who follow me may already know, my boyfriend is working on finishing his law degree. All this time I've been asking him for advice on how to protect my property in the event of a divorce between myself and Drunken Ogre. I've been told that one of the ways I can go about protecting my work is establishing a copyright. It costs $55 for each copyright, but I'm not sure how much I'm going to have to pay because there might be a lot of components to copyright. Once I figure out how many components of my work need to be copyrighted and how much that's all going to cost in the end, I'm considering putting up a GoFundMe to help cover some of the cost. I really don't want to do that, but if it comes to that, I'll probably make a post about it later. What I think I'm going to do next is to try and develop the game again, but this time on my own. Once I have my own demo made, I'm going to probably have to negotiate with Drunken Ogre to get their material taken down. I really don't want to become the shady corporation that shuts down the indie studio for doing a passion project. I want to go through this in the most fair way possible for both sides. As this process continues on, I'll probably make more videos that'll let you guys in on what's going on. Before I leave you today, I want to repeat one more time. Thank you so much for all the love you've given not just to me, but also to Johnny's Adventure in general. Without you guys backing me and pushing me to do things I've never done before, I would have never had the balls to just cold call Drunken Ogre. Even if it didn't go the way I planned, I'm still very happy that I learned a lot from this experience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for content that's generally more comedic than this. I put videos out typically every other Friday, but that changes depending on the work that I'm doing. If you've already subscribed, don't forget to ring the notification bell so you know when my videos are coming out. Lastly, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.